Good evening and welcome. Hi, my name is Lee Black, and I'm popping in on your Sunday evening and to discuss a few interesting topics off of TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives page. This is all part of the TFG TV network of shows, and I'm proud to be one of the newest members. And so, welcome. If this is your first time joining me, I basically am tackling some topics that we deal with on the TFG His and Hers Relationship Perspectives page, where the conversation is always driven by conundrums and various relationship topics, things that men and women talk about, things that we disagree on, things that we have different points of view on, all in hopes of understanding each other a little bit better. And this coincides with what I do on my show called Real Talk for Real Men, and we air on Wednesdays and Sundays. Now, of course, we've been on holiday hiatus, and so I will be back this coming Wednesday. I will be back in my regular time Wednesday at 8 o'clock. That's Eastern Standard Time. We will be launching the first show of the 2022 season of Real Talk for Real Men. And again, we are a part of the TFG TV network. And so I hope you join us this year, because we've got so many great things in store for you. We've got sports, religion, politics, relationships, you name it. We're going to be doing it. But for this particular segment on Sunday, we're going to be talking specifically about the topics on TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. So I want to bring in my co-host from the Real Talk Show. This is McMack. How you doing, McMack? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic on this Sunday evening. So thank you for joining me. And for viewers, I appreciate you as well. And just in case you were wondering, I posted into the comment section the live link. We are welcoming anybody who wants to pop in live to discuss these topics with us as well. You know, we only have one real rule, one real thing that we follow here. We're going to agree to disagree without being disagreeable. So as long as you can follow that, anybody's welcome. We welcome all opinions. We don't shy away from any topic or anything like that. So if you haven't already, go to TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives page, log in, subscribe to all of the shows, but be a part of the conversation. So I'm going to jump into, we're only going to be talking tonight very short, but I want to jump into a question that that came up and I posed, and this is born out of a real live scenario and situation. And so I posted this earlier. We just got past New Year's, first celebration of 2022, but it's all on the tail end of the whole holiday partying season from Thanksgiving moving forward. You can count Halloween if you want to in there too. Having said that, I have a question, because I have some, and this is an interesting one. I want to ask you, Tasha, and I want to welcome anybody's opinion on here, because I mean this sincerely. I would like to know, how with holidays, you typically spend it with family and loved ones. I think we all would agree with that. We think of Thanksgiving as a family holiday where you're thankful for all the people around you. We think of Christmas in terms of giving gifts and time for family. Even though it's commercial, it's still a family-oriented thing. And if you're in a relationship, especially, you still swap gifts, show of appreciation, for those things. What's going on, brother Kenny? How you doing? What's going on, my brother? Real time. Appreciate you. Good to see you, Mr. Kennard. So appreciate you popping in. So Christmas is also, relationship time. What about New Year's Eve? Here's my question. Is New Year's Eve a holiday? If you're in a committed relationship, we're not just talking about kicking it with somebody. I'm talking about a committed so-called monogamous relationship, married or just, committed relationship. Do you think New Year's Eve is a holiday you should bring in with who you're with? What's your thoughts on that, Tasha?
I do. I do think that it is a holiday that you're supposed to spend with a significant other, whether it be husband, spouse, whatever it is. I do. Because it is a big party, celebration, holiday. With New Year's, we, typically align that with the beginnings, setting things new, a fresh start, things like that. And usually, I would think a lot of people also do a lot of reevaluating from the previous year with the new year's, like, this is what we're going to do, as far as a resolution for our relationship. We're going to spend more time together, we're going to do this. So that's why I would think that, yeah, you should bring it in with your significant other. Now, I know once upon a time that may have been the case, but in this new generation, I don't think that they view it the same way. I think it's viewed more now just another night. You got the champagne going. You may go to places that you normally don't go. You spend a little bit more money. It's just another night to extravagantly party. So
Okay. That's fair. And that's fair. What's going on, Mr. Lamar? This is the CEO, the boss of the Falk Group, TFG. This is the man. So appreciate you popping in, my brother. Thank you for that. Mary, and I want to say hello to you as well. Thank you for popping in. So Tasha, I agree. I agree with pretty much everything you said, and I want to read something to you. One of the viewers of the page, she answered this way. She said, "You aren't supposed to do anything except live life in a way in which you and your partner communicate effectively on wants and don't wants, expectations and feelings about and feelings about things in a mutually agreeable way in which nobody has power or control of the other, and the decisions are as good as possible for all involved." And that was a really well thought out, comprehensive answer, I thought. I loved how it was articulated. And
but
this
that's a
young lady,
given, though.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's just a given, though. Like, yes, we know that in each relationship it's going to be different, it's going to be done different. So yeah, we know that it's supposed to be whatever you two decide. But are we going to act like that certain holidays aren't meant for certain things? Like you said, like with Christmas and Thanksgiving, aren't those typically family holidays? I mean, Halloween is typically those for singles, for really partying. Is Valentine's Day not for a significant other? So
All valid points. What's going on, sis? How you doing? Good to see you. And so that's why I wanted to bring this, because it's more serious than people. I think we take this for granted, actually. So that's why I put it out there. And I love the answer. And like you said, I think that's a given. I love the fact that she meant that we're not supposed to, control anybody, so to speak. And I agree with you. We're adults, so this is not a scenario where you can tell the other person what to do. So I don't advocate that. I don't think a man should be able to tell a woman what she can and can't do. You can't go out. If you're with somebody, it's not your child, you're in a relationship with them, and vice versa. I don't think a woman should be able to all of a sudden tell a man, well, now that you with me, you can't go out. But I think there's a reasonable expectation here that my question is, on this particular holiday, shouldn't you be bringing it in with who you're with? And I'm going to tell two quick stories. This was a real scenario that came to me by one of my best friends, where it was New Year's night and his significant other was out kicking it. He was off. And I can tell you right now, he was feeling some kind of a way, because his expectation was, where are you? I'm off and I'm home. You could party any other night of the week, but shouldn't we be bringing in the New Year's together? Is that not how you want to start it off? And so he was feeling some kind of a way. And I can even tell you, as a man, being a man, there is that level of expectation that if you with me, where are you tonight? If we're not bringing this year in together, you could party any other night. And the other quick story is, I was in a committed, serious relationship with a woman, and she was really close with her family. So Thanksgiving came, she wanted to spend with her family. No problem. Go, baby. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. That's a family holiday anyway. All my family's in New York. Do your thing. Christmas came. Oh, my family want me to celebrate with them. Okay, go, baby, be with your family. Let me go ahead on and give you your gift early. I don't really celebrate anyway. I know you do. So here, happy Christmas. Go enjoy your thing. Now, New Year's came, New Year's Eve. I'm not gonna lie. My thing was, shouldn't you be here with me? She chose to spend it with family, partying, kicking it. Well, I slept with her best friend. I fucked her best friend. Now, there's other things mixed up in there. So I don't. Oversimplifying this, but my true feeling was you weren't with me, and so I was a single man. And from a mental perspective, I know as a man, if I'm out in a situation and I see women out on New Year's Eve, I'm assuming you trying to get some dick. You out there looking for strings. Am I wrong, Tasha, in assuming that as a man? And what do you think about that?
No, it may be an unpopular opinion, but no, you're not wrong. If you're out, usually, especially in a group, large groups of women, you're screaming, yelling, woo, YOLO, whatever it is you screaming, toasting champagne, and of course you have to have a certain outfit, so you're not going out slouched either. So it would appear that you are looking for something a little extra.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna move on to the next question because I want you to understand the views expressed on this segment are our own. This is not the views of TFG, its affiliates, its staff, its members, or anybody. This is from Lee and this is from Tasha. And I welcome your views as well. There's no right or wrong. We're just discussing this. Sherry says, I think my mister will want to bring in the new year in with me, or I will be bringing in with another mister. So, sis, that's my thinking. And so I kind of was in a horrible situation answering this for my close friend because I could connect as a man what was going through his head and what he was feeling. But, Tasha, you mentioned earlier, this newer generation, they may feel differently in that, hey, it's just a night, I'm kicking it, I'm out, and you shouldn't be angry because I go out anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, I don't know what that name is, or we got a Russian visitor or somebody. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate that. Okay, let's move on to a different one, and this one is kind of along the same lines, and the question, again, I'm taking these questions just in case you are wondering. This is from TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. This question is asking, if you're in a committed relationship, what is your limit on your partner's partying without you? Is there a limit? Are you okay with partying? And I'm going to get your answer, Tasha, but before you answer, I want to share with you a couple of views that have already been posted on this topic, okay?
Okay.
Now, one lady says, if you don't want me doing it, then you shouldn't do it. She kept it real simple. So from where she sit, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I agree. I agree with that. Another young lady says, my husband's idea of partying is fishing, golfing, or gaming with his friends. We do all of that with our couple friends, but neither me or any of the other wives is down for any of that early in the morning or extra late at night. So we happily send them outside to play, and they come home whenever they're done. I thought that was an interesting perspective because in this case, she talked about partying in the sense of doing those activities. And trust me, I'm gonna let you go. I want to read one more, then I want to get your opinion, McMack. Another young lady says, I don't care. I'm an introvert. So whoever I end up with needs to have a life outside of me because I can't be his entertainment. Though since I'm 35 and would most likely be with someone my age or older, I would imagine partying wouldn't be at the top of his list of priorities. And to that young lady, I agreed 1000%. But before I actually throw a curve in here, what's your take on this, Tasha, in terms of what is your limit on your partner partying without you?
There's a lot of moving parts here. So
Yes.
the last comment that you just read, really, really resonates with me because I too am an introvert. Despite me being on here, I am an introvert. I am
And I
not
know.
going to be able to be your entertainment. I'm not going to be as outgoing. And I've always said, for me to be with someone, they have to be the opposite of me. So
Mhm.
I would expect them to be more social. Having said that, as far as the limit goes, I would say this: it would depend on how many jobs you have and if you had kids. And I'm explain why. So let's say you all are just a couple, you each only have like one job. Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 times a week, you go out and everything. Now, if you're a couple and you each have multiple jobs, you have children, and you're still trying to go out 1 or 2 times a week, I'm going to start feeling like, why don't you want to spend any time with me? Because I would feel that you, in whatever spare time you have, it's limited because we both have awkward schedules. You should be wanting to spend it with me. And of course, like the age of the children as well, that'll play a part in it too. Because
Okay.
when they're younger, they need a little bit more, not a little bit, they need a lot more attention. And again, I've never been married. I don't have any children, don't plan on having any. This is just my opinion on what I would do, what's comfortable for me. So
Gotcha. I love your answer, and I don't disagree with any of it. So let me ask you a question. This is kind of what I posed to the young lady who's an introvert, because I get that part,
mhm,
and in fact, we all know that opposites attract typically, in my relationships, I have been the extroverted person because personally, I wouldn't want a woman. She couldn't be my woman and be as extroverted as I am. That's
mm,
that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? I actually need someone to balance me out, to pull me back, hold me back. So I love that. Having said that, now as an
mm,
introvert, how comfortable would you be though with, I get you don't want to go out, baby,
mhm.
but every time you look up, is there a limit? Every time you look up, well, I know she ain't gonna want to go, so I'm gonna go kick it and party with the fellas. And oh, by the way, it's gonna be some single bitches there too now. Are you okay with your significant other being in that setting and surroundings on a regular basis? Now he knowing you're not going to want to go because you're an introvert, but he's extroverted. That's his
Mhm.
personality. So without selling himself short, how comfortable would you be? And is there a limit on how often he could go?
I would still stick with the once or twice a week. Exceeding that, and then again, like with the twice a week, it's like, what are you really going to be doing? Like, where are you going? Like, where do you feel like that you just have to go to be around? Are you just going to like a sports bar? Are you going to like a club? Is it a strip club? Where are you going that you just have to have other types of attention? Are you just going over to a friend's house? I would really start questioning, like, look, this is let's cut back on it this month. Let's just see, why don't you spend a little bit more time with me? Why don't you get a hobby other than partying? You got to get a hobby.
I got you. I feel you. One of the young ladies was in, I think, agreement with you. She said, I'd say no more than twice a month. She said twice a month. We have kids, bills, a household to run, and we're of a certain age. Partying shouldn't be a priority at all. To that, I said I love that comment 100%
Mm,
because I agree. In this case, if there are children, there's a family setting involved, then yeah, I mean, you kind of have to start asking what's calling you out there. So I'm going to say
mm.
from a man's perspective though, because I appreciate the ladies answering so far, and I hadn't gotten any answers from men yet. And so Lamb is saying poker nights. So before I answer that, I see you're nodding your head. Poker nights are okay.
That's fine.
Okay, good. So in this case, I guess we're talking about what partying would be, right? What is
Yeah.
considered. So the expectation, I think, is if it's a poker night, let's use that as an example. Lamar said that person sounds like they want to be single. This is where I'm going with it, my brother. This is exactly where I'm going with it, my brother. Because the expectation, if it's a poker night, we're assuming that these are close friends that he has been doing this for, even if he just started, but these are people she would also know, presumably, right? So she knows where he's going to be. She's met his friends. She has to be comfortable knowing that this is just my husband and his buddies getting, or my boyfriend or whatever, getting together with his buddies. They're having a good time. That changes, though, if other women are going to be there, right?
It's not a Paul Pierce poker night, and you know what I'm talking about.
I know
Remember
exactly
how he got caught up? Okay. So not one of those. Now, as far as if is it other women, like all of a sudden we just inviting women to be a part of the poker night?
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because if he's going to somebody else's place, he has no control over who come. Legitimately, if I'm your man and I say, well, all right, babe, I'm headed over to Chico's house tonight. We're gonna play a little game, blah blah blah. Now, when I get there, Chico got bitches there, because Chico is single. I'm with you, but my partner Chico, he got bitches. It's liquor, it's weed, it's bitches. They walking around. Is that okay? You okay with that?
I'm gonna be giving you the side eye. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I'm definitely gonna be giving you the side eye. Like how much, like all of a sudden it's bitches at the poker night. Y'all been doing this for 5, 10 plus years, and all of a sudden we got women at the poker night. So okay, the first night I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna be looking at you side eye. I may not say anything, but I am gonna be looking at you. I'm gonna evaluate you, like when you come in, how you act towards me. What do you do when you first come in? How late are you coming in? I am going to be evaluating all of that. And then maybe, like with the poker nights, maybe you don't need to be going every week. Maybe you only need to go like once a month.
I think that's why I agree with the young ladies when she said twice a month. I like twice a month. I actually like that. For me personally, as a man, I like she said it. I like twice a month. I think twice a month is a reasonable amount of time to let your significant other have an independent outing without you. I'm a firm believer that relationships still need to grow independent of each other. I think relationships are a living, breathing thing. Is you have to put a lot of work into it. And I think the mistake people make sometimes is when they get together, they stop growing independently.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that you still got friends outside of me. So twice a month, go do what your own thing. I don't even have to know, because I'm trusting that you're going to still respect the relationship and not have me out there looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Lamb says he wondered how rich folks do it, because where the man spend hours playing golf regularly. So like in this case, Lamb, this is on the surface, harmless activity, golf. It's a passion. And that could be fishing. It could be playing spades. I see you smiling, Tasha.
Because my stepdad golfs, like with his golf buddies, and stuff like that. These are people that he's, gone to college and high school with, grown up with. So my mom calls it his bitches. So he's going out with his bitches. That's what she calls it. So, but they do golf. I want to say it's at least, if not every week, every other weekend. But she, she stays at home, but she trusts him enough to know that they just golfing and they'll be out there all day.
So, okay, so let me say that. So let me say this rather. Again, even if, and this is my opinion, even if it's an activity that on its surface is harmless, I just think you have to be careful in terms of the amount of time you put into it. Because again, while I'm an advocate of you growing and having independent interests, I think that's healthy. There's things that you're going to do that I don't like, things you do, I do, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, you guys out here, feel free to contribute. Every little bit helps. I don't care if it's 50 cents. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Lamar. Absolutely. That's support. That's love. I appreciate that. And like I said, it can be harmless, but I'm okay with you having some interest. But anything to me in it can be excessive. Anything can be excessive. And it could damage a relationship even more so if we're talking about partying in this case. And so Jenny says it's okay to party separately sometimes as long as your significant other makes time for you. Couples should have a date night. Jenny, I agree with you 1000%. I think it's healthy to still have that date night. But I'm going to question one thing, sweetie. When you say party separately, there has to be parameters here. And I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was married or in relationships, to be in a relationship with me, you have to allow, my personality is very flirtatious. I only have two real hobbies, and that's bitches and drinking. So you have to allow me those two things, even if you're with me, you know. But even then, I did it in a respectful way, in the sense that if I'm going to, Jenny, if you can party without the person, but guess what? You still don't want to put that person in a precarious situation because you're representing them with them. So our question for you, Jenny, let's say if your man is going out without you, but he's in the sports bar draped over another woman, a place you go to. Now, people who know you too know that, well, wait a minute. Ain't he with Jenny? Damn, he awfully single tonight. So, sweetheart, is that okay? Because while I agree with partying, there has to be some rules in place. And again, you can't tell a grown person what to do. But Tasha, do you think wherever you are, that you are representing the couple, each other? What's your views on that?
Absolutely. No matter where you go, when you are in a relationship, you are a reflection of one another. And when you do certain things, act a certain way, it can make people, especially I would say, even more importantly, when you're married, it can make people kind of look at you like, does so and so know? Like, does his wife know he acts like that? Does her husband know that he acts like that? It does cause you to, to kind of like raise an eyebrow. And of course, those hush whispers of, well, it couldn't be me. I'm glad it ain't me. So
I'm glad you said that, because in this new age of social media where nothing is sacred, nothing is private, because even if you don't whip out your phone, somebody else in there could. You know how many relationships have been exposed simply by being in some place where somebody else is filming? Hey, I'm out here kicking it, and the phone pans around and there's such and such with somebody he don't belong with behavior. You know, we've seen it even on the football field with the coach that got fired. Drinking, your inhibitions are lowered. So imagine me as a boyfriend. My woman is out, and on social media, my boys come across a page where you staggering as my woman. Some nigga got his arm around your waist. You bending over, you twerking, you getting it in. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna be a happy camper, because you're representing me. And as much as you as a woman expect me to behave a certain way, you wouldn't want me coming home with lipstick on my collar, smelling like perfume. Yep. I don't want you out there doing certain things that if it gets back, because you're representing me. So I'm imploring you, husbands, boyfriends, you said it, Tasha, it couldn't be me. So my thing is, maybe it's a good idea to check some of these social media pages, IG, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever the hell they use, and have this conversation, because I think all of these things matter. Jenny says you have to keep it respectful. You can't act like you cannot act like you're not in a relationship. And I think too many times that's what happens. We're going to take one more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add this to it. And I just want to.
Oh, you froze. Tasha, you froze.
This is how I
Tasha,
can you hear me now?
Tasha, yeah, you froze completely. So start over. What were you about to say?
Sorry. I was saying, you know how sometimes you'll have people as a response to this that will say that, you knew what you were getting into when you dated me, or I've always been like this. Can we stop saying that? Can we just act like that as an adult, you're supposed to, when you know better, you're supposed to do better, and you have to be accountable for your actions. Just because that may have been when someone first met you doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be responsible and growing and maturing and realizing that maybe I don't need to do that anymore. It's not
Absolutely.
always right that what you're doing. It's not always right. It's not always okay. It's not always acceptable.
Absolutely right. I want to add one more wrinkle to this.
Okay.
What about in relationships where there is an age difference that plays a part in the amount of time a person is going? Jenny agrees with you 1,000%. In this real life example, and this happens many times. What if there's an age difference? And I'm going to use as an example. What if the man is significantly older than the woman? And you know how sometimes when you first get with somebody, age may not be a factor because that person's maturity is where it needs to be. But what happens in an instance where, let's say, if I'm a man, then I'll be 54 years old coming up on January the 5th, God willing. Woo, 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 making it. Now, anybody who knows me, if I was in a relationship right now, it wouldn't be with a 50-something-year-old woman. That's just not what I'm looking for. She'd be 37 and higher. So let's say if I'm in a relationship at 54, let's say a woman is 42. Let's say she's 42 years old. So I'm 12 years older than her. Now, for me at this stage of my life, going out is not something that interests me. Not even sports bars. I'm in this practical state of mind where before I go give you $12, I can drink as much as I want at home. I'm happiest behind these four walls playing my music. My fat black ass sitting at home just being relaxed. An idea of a great weekend to me is having no company, sleeping in as much as I want, walking around. Tasha, what do you call it? Walking around Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
I have on a shirt and I don't even have no drawers on. I like to be swinging free. I like walking around Winnie the Pooh. My fat ass Winnie the Pooh. Now, what if my woman, though, is 12 years younger than me? And what if when I met her, man, going out wasn't a thing. She was happy. But we know that women mature in different stages than men. Mm-hmm. So that woman in her 20s, maybe that wasn't her thing going out. Or maybe like you, she did a hell of a lot of going out in her 20s, slowed down in her 30s. What if now at 42, that itch is back there again? Shit, I still look good. I got my body. I ain't got no babies. I'm going out to kick it with my friends because I'm in my sexual prime and I'm looking good. And I ain't going to be sitting home with your fat missing teeth ass. What if she is wanting to get out and kick it? That's what age can play a major role. So is it wrong on my part? Is the question I'm asking in that instance to expect her to tone her going down to twice a month, which for me, I think is reasonable. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I think, that right there would kind of make me question any sudden change of behavior where all of a sudden, depending on the length of time that you've been with that person, all of a sudden they decide they want to start going out again, or they feel like the streets is calling to them like that. It's really going to be, okay, we need to have a real conversation. What's really going on? Talk to me. Are you not feeling fulfilled? Are you not feeling validated? What am I not providing to you, doing for you, satisfying you? What am I not doing for you to feel like you got to go outside the house like that to be happy, especially if it's in excess? So if it's more than the 2 or 3 times a month or whatever, absolutely, I would start questioning. I don't think it's unreasonable though for you to,
I love your point. I love your point. And I hope women and men alike are hearing that, because I think that is the most valid point made on the show tonight. What's up, Miss Lynn? How you doing, sweetheart? Tasha, you did knock that one out the park, because I think that's the question. If there is a sudden change in behavior, I think we sometimes don't listen to that little thing on our shoulder, in our ear, that conscience is saying, well, what's going on here? But that is the most valid point you make, that what happened? What's changed? What's missing now in our relationship that you see the need to do that? And so for me as a man, I'm hoping that whoever I'm choosing to be with, that she's gotten all of that out of her system when I commit to her. Now, again, if we're just in the kicking the stages, baby, go as often as you like. The moment for me that it becomes exclusive and certainly committed, then my expectation is you've gotten all that out of your system. I've even said I wouldn't want to marry a woman or be with somebody seriously at this stage who hadn't gotten all of their dirt out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look, if you to get with me at this stage of my life, I want a woman that's already done a threesome. Already had all of the fun she wanted, all the crazy, wacky, freaky shit that she can think of. When you come to me, have that all out of your system, because of what you said, Tasha. It's going to be a problem if we're going along at a pace, and all of a sudden now there is a need for you to increase going out with that. That's a valid point. That is a valid point. And you're right, Jenny. That should be talked about before you commit. But we all know people don't have these real conversations a lot of times before they commit. And here's what's even scarier. When they're going through it, they don't take the time to stop and say, hey, we need to talk about this. Am I wrong, Tasha?
No, you're definitely not wrong about that, because it's happening in the moment, or you think that it's only going to last just for a little while. And I will say this, that the newer generation is having a much bigger effect on not just one another, but on the older generations and the way that the way that we view relationships and even participate in relationships. We're really like on like a slippery slope, I would say, right now.
Absolutely.
That we gotta stand up. We gotta, get some decorum. We gotta get back to the basics. And I would say this: we got to get back to having some things that are age appropriate. People may not like it. It may think that that's antiquated or what is age appropriate, but you know what I'm talking about. If you're still in your 40s or your 50s and you feel like you got to be at the club like that, why are you trying to compete with these 20 and 30-year-olds?
Valid point. And I'm gonna let Lynn drive this point home as we end this segment of this broadcast. Lynn says they don't, talking about have these conversations. She said they don't because they know the truth might be a turnoff. Lynn, you are 1000% correct. Many people are afraid to hear the truth, and they would rather live inside of a lie. And that's the sad part. And what you were saying, Tasha, Lynn says, oh my God, absolutely. Age appropriate. Sit your ass down. But Lynn, baby, it's nothing worse than the old guy in the club trying to keep up with these young fellas and do TikTok dances. And a woman beyond that age dressing inappropriately, twerking, trying to compete with these young girls. And so I hope in 2022, we can get back to a place where we're having these real conversations. That's what we do on Real Talk for Real Men. I'm going to end the segment by asking one last question, and we're not going to go into it deeply, but I'm going to give Tasha just an opportunity to answer, and then hopefully you'll go to TFG, his and hers perspectives, and to put your view in there. What's going on, Antoine? How you doing, my brother? Appreciate you joining us. Hope you join us. We're going to do this every Sunday. One of the questions on there now, Tasha, is why is it that independent women refuse to date a man who's broke? Hashtag tell the truth. Why is it that independent women, I know you're an independent woman, so why is it that independent women refuse to date a man who's broke?
That's a loaded question. Okay, that's a loaded question. As far as not wanting to date a broke man, as we know, there are levels to broke. We need to specify what broke. Is it just a status thing? You just don't want to date someone who makes less money than you? Is it a pride thing? What is it? For me, you could, for how I would define broke, your bills are paid, you have a job, but you may not have, any excess money. So maybe it's just you're trying to live a lifestyle. You need that status. That's what I would say, is that it's a status and a pride thing. It's ego.
Very, very well said. Lynn says it's definitely a loaded question. And she says there's levels to this shit about being broke.
It is levels to broke.
There's levels to this shit. I love it. I love it. I'm not going into any more detail. I want to keep these sessions short, but these are conversations that are being had right now as we speak on TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. Join the fun, folks. Open up the dialogue, answer these questions, keep it open. This is the only way that we're going to get to some resolutions and solutions. Lynn says, is it a temporary situation or is your ass doing too damn much?
Exactly.
Lynn, you're asking all of the right questions. Baby, you're asking all of the right questions. I know I can answer them and I can take this show to another level. I'm not even going to answer this one on air. I'm going to answer this I'm going to put my views into TFG, His and Hers Perspectives. And by the way, join us on Wednesdays for Real Talk for Real Men, where we do go deep diving into topics just like these. We talk about it in a real way. It's unfiltered. There are no taboo subjects. All opinions are welcome. And it's a panel of real people. And this is what you can expect from us in 2022. On this coming Wednesday, it's going to be our first show of the new season. It just so happens it's going to be my birthday. So if the good Lord wakes me up on Wednesday, I will be 54 years old. I'm going to have my champagne. I'm going to be smoking my stuff. Join us for a real conversation and join me on other platforms of TFG TV, whether it's the Brenton Haynes Show, whether it's the Sports Guy with Kenny. Join us and please start to log in to this segment on Sunday evenings at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be discussing topics from TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. At the end of the day, folks, even though women are from Venus and men are from Mars, we all still live on Earth, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you better. So I want to say good night. Everybody, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Part of TFG. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your points of view.